Jai Hind students, how are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine. Today we are starting the chapter from trade to territory. Here, first of all, we will discuss about the period when Aurangzeb started losing his power, means after when Aurangzeb became very old and when he was died, and after his death what was the situation and how the British or the East India Company entered in our country, and the trade relation and the circumstance of that period of time. Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal rulers that we have already studied in class 7th. He established control over a very large part of the territory that is now known as India. As we know, Mughal Empire, the great empire, the most successful empire. After his death in 1707, many Mughal governors who were known as Subadars and the big zamindars, they started asserting their authority and stabilizing regional kingdoms. Here we should know what is the meaning of asserting, means they started claiming their authority. As powerful regional kingdom emerged in various parts of India, Delhi could no longer function as an effective center. As in, if you can recall, in class 7th, we studied the three old provinces, that was Awadh, then Bengal and Hyderabad. They were the three first Subadars who asserted their kingdom, that they are the ruler of, they will be the supermost power of that areas, that kingdom. By the second half of the 18th century, however, a new power was emerging in the political horizon, the British. As a British, did you know that the British originally came as a small trading company, and initially they were not at all interested, even they were completely reluctant to acquire territories. They only wanted to trade and more to gain more and more profit. Then what happened at that situation? How then did they come to be masters of such a vast empire? That we will discuss in this module, even in this whole chapter. So in the 1600th century, East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth I, granting it the sole right to trade with the East. This means that no longer trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. With this charter, the company could venture across the oceans, looking for new lands for which it could buy goods at a cheap price and carry them back to Europe to sell at a higher prices. The company did not have fear competition from other English trading companies. Here we should know first of all mercantile. What is the meaning of mercantile trading? That is a business enterprise that makes profit primarily through trade, buying goods at a cheap price and they sell dear, means they sell in a higher prices. Mercantile trading companies in those days made profit primarily by excluding competition so that they could buy cheap and sell dear. The Royal Charter, however, could not prevent other European powers from entering the eastern markets by the time the first English ship sailed down the west coast of Africa, and which was round the Cape of Good Hope and crossed the Indian Ocean. The Portuguese, as you know, that Portuguese had already established their presence in the western coast of India, in Calicut, as Vasco da Gama first entered through Calicut. Now, the Portuguese explorer, as I said, Vasco da Gama, who had already discovered sea route to India in 1498. By the early 17th century, the Dutch too were exploring the possibilities of trade in the Indian Ocean, and soon the French traders also arrived in the same scene. But the problem was that all the companies were interested in buying the same things. The fine qualities of cotton, silk, which was produced in India, had a big market in Europe. Pepper, cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, too, they all were in great demand. Competition among the European companies inevitably pushed up the prices at a very high price, at a very high rate. And that is the reason the East India Company started facing problem. Now, if there will be the big, as you know, if in the market there will be high competition, so definitely the prices will also go very high. And that is the reason the only way of trading companies could flourish was by eliminating rival competitors. The urge to secure markets therefore led to fierce battle between the trading companies. And through the 17th and 18th centuries, they regularly sank each other's ship. They means there was the battle. Blocked routes, they prevented rival ship from moving with the supplies of goods, and trade was carried on with the arms and trading posts were protected through fortification. This effort to fortify settlement and carry on profitable trade also led to intense conflict with the local rulers. The company therefore found it difficult to separate trade from politics, and it was the time when the East India Company, as having their superior, you can say, or the most developed naval force, strong naval force, they won. And it was the time when East India Company, without playing politics, without any kind of politics, they found that trade cannot flourish, they cannot flourish their trade. And it was the time when in the 1651 the first English factory was set up on the bank of river Hooghly. This much only in this module we will discuss. For the further detailed information, we will discuss in the second module. Till then, please stay safe and definitely stay tuned with us. Thank you.